Good day. Welcome to Putnam Talk Radio, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Robeson Oil, the house that service built, by Tompkins Mahopac Bank, by Lipolis Electric, don't be left in the dark, get Lipolis, by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth up and down throughout the Hudson Valley to a fiduciary standard, by White Plains Hospital, they cover the entire Hudson Valley, as does Michael Labriola, Landscape Design and Construction of Armonk. We are joined here on Putnam Talk Radio, the Cup of Joe political show, by County Executive MaryEllen Odell. MaryEllen Odell, welcome back. Here we are, basically through one quarter now in 2022, and Putnam seems to be about the most open county in the tri-state area. How were you able to accomplish this?
Well, we were one of the unmasked counties first. We started with that. And I was joined by Ed Day over in Rockland and Mark Molinaro, Steve Newhouse. I think we Hudson Valley County execs basically said, I think as you remember, that we weren't going to force people to wear masks, that it was individual responsibility, and we were going to leave it at that. As far as opening goes, open for business as quickly as we possibly could. Mm-hmm. We had to. Mm-hmm.
Now, you did take on the governor, you and a number of the county executives around the lower Hudson Valley. You told the governor, as you said, we can't enforce this. How did the governor react? Did you talk to her at that time? And keeping in mind, she was just a few months into the job at that time. Now she's got a little more experience at this.
Did we talk to her? No. What she did do was try to tie some grant aid money to us enforcing the mask mandate. So she sent down some documentation with an agreement that she wanted us to execute, basically saying that if we didn't agree by executing this document that we would enforce the mask mandate, that we would not be eligible for grant funding. That was a little, I think, heavy-handed and I don't think particularly well received by anyone. And so that was pretty much, I think, like you said, it was a new spot for her. Pressure was on. You can gauge someone's abilities to react to situations, particularly under a pressure situation like that. And so here we are now. We're that's behind us, and now we're just moving forward.
The funding, you said the governor tried to tie into the mask mandate. Have you been able to work to get at least some of that funding or guarantees for that funding here now 3-4 months after?
I don't even really know what bucket of money she was talking about at the time. I really think it was one of those I will call a hurry up, no huddle play, just to try to get us to comply. So, always throw money at a problem, right? Or bait us, maybe hope that constituents would say, oh, look, the county executives are denying us financial relief just by complying with her mask mandate. So it didn't play out. It didn't work. What we are seeing and have seen, we've been very mindful about the expenditures we've had to make since the top of COVID, as far as our supplies that were necessary to keep the public safe. We've been completing our FEMA reimbursements, CARES Act money, and of course, now we're dealing with the ARPA money, the America Relief money. So that's today's issue.
Vaccinations. Is Putnam about as vaccinated as it will be, or is there always room for a few more?
I'd say we're at saturation right now. I think people have basically made up their minds about whether they're going to get vaccinated or not. I think that's been a mindset from the beginning. People have, they had concerns, and of course we all did. And now it's really about the children, about what age group should be vaccinated. The seniors were vaccinated first. And then I think that was appropriately so, to give them the option. I think they were ready to move on with their lives. And I think right now we're hovering, I think about 70% of our population's vaccinated. So we'll see. Science had always talked about herd immunity. So we'll see.
Yeah, does the science say we have herd immunity now with 70%? That's what we heard 2 years ago. Get to 70% and we have herd immunity. And then we saw the numbers change to 60 to 85. What's in the middle of 60 and 85? 70, 72. So are we there? Right. And then remember, we had the Omicron pop up in December, right at the height of the high holy season for everyone. And then that lingered into January. So we saw an uptick in vaccinations. We were actually going to complete our pods, our vaccination centers, in the end of December, and then we continued them through January just to give people the convenient option if they chose to be vaccinated. And simultaneously, we had 2 testing sites running 5 to 7 days a week, weather depending, because they were outdoor drive-in sites, and January was frigid. So I think we did I'd say a little under 10,000 tests were issued, all because of Omicron. And we were trying to help the schools too stay open. So we opened the testing sites at 6 a.m. so that those kids could get tested if there was an exposure, just to keep things going. That was something that we went through January crawled a little bit into February with. I was in a restaurant 2 nights ago, and a friend saw me through the window of the restaurant. He walked in. I didn't see him come in. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and he says, "Hey, did you hear about the new variant?" And what do we see on PBS last night? Dr. Anthony Fauci talking about an Omicron variant. So the question from Judy Woodruff was, well, how dangerous is this, do you think, so far right now? And he says, well, it seems to be more contagious than Omicron, but may not be more dangerous. On your end, might this eventually get in the way of reopening, knowing that here we are a day after St. Patrick's Day, and you had a really good St. Patrick's Day yesterday in Putnam County? Yeah, we had the big parade over the weekend. There's a big parade tomorrow in Yonkers. Are we worried about it? No. Our Commissioner of Health is still advising everyone to be responsible, with your own, washing of your hands and, maintaining exactly what you would do during flu season, right? So everybody, I think, should understand that flu season traditionally comes with its own set of rules or hygiene rules. And you just follow those. And by the way, we all know that the common flu mutates every year as well. So the vaccine that you receive, let's say this year, was basically based on the previous variation or form of the flu. So COVID is here to stay in some way, shape, or form. Our hospitalizations are very low. Positivity rate is very low. I just attended a conference this week up in Albany with all the county executives and legislature for an annual conference that we haven't had in 3 years. And, it was business as usual, as if the last 2 years never happened. Nothing happened for 2 years. Now we're trying to get back into the swing as best and as fast as possible. County Executive MaryEllen Odell here on Putnam Talk Radio, Cup of Joe Political Show. I'm John Marino. Highlights of the 2022 county budget 3 months in. The implementation of that budget, is that going according to plan? Oh, we have a lot to be proud of here in Putnam County government. We have really... We did a great job over the last 10 years. Everybody wants to see the financial picture, right? That's the most important thing that taxpayers are looking at, particularly now when your oil deliveries are over $5 a gallon and gas is creeping along in that direction. So everybody wants to know, what are we going to expect in our next tax bill?
So we laid out, I think, a very promising report. We started, my administration started with long-term debt about 105 million. We're down to 88 and change. I have exact numbers here, but we're not going to bore everyone with that. But short-term debt was 17 million. That's gone. We had a pension bill when 2008, when the pension systems collapsed. We had $8.5 million we had to cough up to pay all that. That's done and gone. So overall, we reduced all of our debt by 40% in a 10-year period of time, all while building Putnam County Golf Course into a gateway destination, banquet facility, concert venue, and Tilly Foster Farm and Educational Institute, another gateway for the other corner of Putnam, offering classes for kids for culinary arts and animal husbandry and some other programs we have, and providing a venue again for weddings and gatherings and outdoor events as well. The barn is booked solid. We renovated the barn. So we were able to accomplish quite a bit, and we we have about 60 and change million in our general fund balance, which is a big dramatic addition from, I think it was 18 when I started, 18 million. So we've worked hard.
What's the key to balancing that budget and cutting that debt the way you have, whereas we see other governmental entities, without mentioning names, higher up in the state, for example, or maybe nationally, throwing dollar after dollar and millions and billions after things, and nothing good comes of it. Yet in Putnam, you've been able to reduce that debt load, reduce taxes, and yet provide better services for the residents of the county.
I would say that there's always been, in my mind, we try to apply this at home and we try to teach it to the kids. You can't just throw money at a problem. You have to solve the problem. You have to figure out what's the best way to approach something. And I've always talked about process. And this just didn't happen. It was a process that we developed and designed and mapped out how we were going to make sure that our financial picture improved. To go from a AA2 Moody credit rating to AA1 in the trying times that we have speaks volumes to us. I think that in this administration, when we came on board, I addressed all of our department heads and our staff, and I said, look, no problems, only solutions. Don't come to me with a problem unless you're coming to me with a solution at the same time. And it's worked. It's worked well.
Putnam County Executive MaryEllen Odell here on Putnam Talk Radio. I'm John Marino, and this is the Cup of Joe political show. MaryEllen Odell, if you were in Albany right now and you were a state legislator for Putnam County, what would you try to get done for Putnam? And that might benefit everybody in New York State, too.
Oh, cashless bail. One of the most horrendous pieces of legislation, I think that across the board, everyone can agree. Extremely problematic. It made no sense at the time. We've seen increase in crime. That must be addressed. And then we talk about mandates. New York State continually shifting their responsibilities of offering programs, running programs, and paying for programs down here to the county local level. And that to me is what our Albany representatives should have been doing. If they haven't been doing, shame on them.
We talk about the ongoing fight against opioids, the opioid epidemic. From time to time, we see a plan come down. The plans generally don't work. Now it seems like we might be getting more serious finally about cutting off the opioid epidemic. With that, too, I know you have a special focus on reducing DWI in the county. How can we get this done? How can you locally focus on the opioid epidemic, like I know you want to do? And also, obviously, too, there's a lot of education with DWI. How do you go about and get this done where on a wider scale, this doesn't seem to be getting done?
Well, before COVID, we had messaged at our state of the county and continually every day supporting our not-for-profit providers who are dealing with substance abuse, addiction, mental health issues every day. So we called ourselves a one army on the war on addiction. And through our ARPA funding, we are looking at that particular topic, the infrastructure that it's going to take, the funding it's going to take to basically pick up where we left off and then some. Because through the COVID pandemic, we have seen an uptick in mental health. And in addition to that, we have to add to the children who have really had the challenges for these children to be at home learning and then in school learning with masks and the pressures that their parents have been under. So we're adding that to the equation too. So we're looking quite a bit of our ARPA funding will be directly focused towards mental health infrastructure, food insecurity as well, seeing what we can do to help those not-for-profit providers, those professionals, those boots on the ground experienced people dealing with those issues in particular.
You talk about social infrastructure, the federal infrastructure bill, with regards to roads and rails and transit, et cetera. How much of that money might be coming down to Putnam County? How will that affect Putnam and what you can do? Because even though Putnam is not the largest of counties, to me, large potholes don't discriminate where they wind up and where they land, and you do have to deal with them.
Right. So the State of the County address, we unveiled a plan regarding the ARPA funds, and we extended to the towns and villages an opportunity for them to remit to us proposals that would involve infrastructure projects, not only the social infrastructure projects that we just spoke about, but the mobility, transportation projects that we can partner with to accomplish more with the $19 million that the county received. So the towns and villages received a certain allocation. Individually, Putnam County received $19 million. We are giving $5 million of our county allocated money to the towns and villages. We're adding an additional $5 million in sales tax revenue, surplus revenue that we've been able to collect because we did advocate, in fact, for internet sales tax in Putnam County, thank goodness. And so right now the proposals are in. Right now the legislature has before them the specific allocation. We did it based on formula funding for the federal 2020 census. So each town got an allocation and village received an allocation based on that. They will work with the respective legislators that represent their municipalities, and they'll go over the proposed projects, whether they're social programs or whether they're transportation, mobility, roads, bridges, culverts, dams, public safety issues. So that's how we're going to spend the ARPA money. I'm not going to make all the decisions. I basically designed a plan. I did so with our Commissioner of Finance, and I did so with two individuals from the town of Phillipstown who brought some great ideas to the table. Councilman Jason Angel and trustee of the Village of Cold Spring, Eliza Starbuck, brought to us a Share the Growth program, which will enable the county to help fund certain projects on good years. So it's exciting. We were very excited about it. And I think when you have the opportunity to have this kind of funding, these kind of dollars, you can't just throw money at the problem. As I said, you have to really look and analyze and follow a process. And I think we've come up with a good process.
Does Putnam still receive federal COVID money, or is that done?
I think that after the ARPA, I do believe we'll continue to see additional funding coming through. There's so much talk about the tax on gas right now. Different discussions in Albany about how do we help people when they're going to the pump, pay now $100 to fill, the family vehicle.
Right.
It's unsustainable. Now we're seeing better weather, right? I'm looking at the window. We're pushing some buds out there, so that should help us with the home heating oil. So hopefully people have paid the last double what they were paying last year.
At least, maybe a bit more than double.
Maybe even a bit more than that. So there's a lot of talk about relief for the gas tax for individuals. I haven't really heard a plan that works. It's, again, throwing money at a problem is not really solving the problem. What is going to solve the energy problem and the energy costs in the United States right now, if not just in the local level? I mean, clearly electric cars are an option, but they're far down the road. It's not going to help the consumer and the family today. So, what do we do? And I think that's above my pay grade. That's probably Albany and Washington's decision to make.
Do wind farms off Montauk work? Do they properly heat and cool down the Hudson Valley, or are they just too far away?
We're talking about wind farms. They're talking about solar. I'm sure if you add it all up at the end of the day, it will have some positive impact. Clearly, we like renewable energy ideas, but you have to turn on your lights, and you have to heat your home, and you have to drive a car, and you have to get to work. And how do we do that efficiently, respectfully to the environment? And how do we do it in a real time, in my lifetime, in our kids' lifetime? That's what we should be talking about. What's that plan?
What's the biggest thing you'd like to accomplish the rest of this year?
Well, I'd like to see the ARPA money be allocated in good, smart projects that will return investments to us, enhance public safety. We're going to be spending an awful lot of time on that discussion, making sure that these projects are selected, chosen wisely, and that they are completed. We're also looking at the Danbury-Brewster sewer connection. We haven't given up on that even through COVID. And we have the transportation, TOD, Transportation Oriented Development Project in the Village of Brewster, which will be very exciting game changer for the Village of Brewster, with the train station right there, and the opportunities there are tremendous. At one time, the Village of Brewster was the hub of commerce in Putnam County. So those are the projects right now that come to mind, in addition to what I was talking about, getting our not-for-profit providers of mental health and substance abuse, getting them funded and in the right direction. We'd love to see a stabilization center here in Putnam to help facilitate those in crisis faster, quicker, easier, more efficiently. So we're going to be looking at that. If I had a calendar in front of me, I would say we are at 294 days and counting. So the shot clock is on, it's ticking. We don't have a lot of time here in our administration left. And, hopefully we'll leave a roadmap, a plan for the legislature to guide the next administration through the future.
MaryEllen, Odell, with events around the world, especially now in Ukraine and in Eastern Europe, affecting us here in many ways. We have a large Ukrainian American community and population throughout the tri-state area. Our thoughts are with them.
We do. At the state of the county, we basically dedicated the evening to the innocent, beautiful families in the Ukraine and neighboring Poland and Hungary and all the Eastern European nations who were standing in solidarity against the tyranny of Vladimir Putin. And, we continue. We hope everyone prays for peace for the folks, the beautiful people in that region. And we're hoping that what we're seeing right now is going to end in some kind of a peaceful resolution, that's for sure.
And as it turns out, the county flag right behind you is not intentionally, but traditionally decked out in at least some of the Ukrainian flag colors with the blue, which is prominent, and some gold in there too, as it ironically turns out.
Yeah, this was our program for the state of the county. The symbol, the sunflower, being the national flower, and we did have the Ukrainian flag, and we've been wearing ribbons here in solidarity with our neighbors. We pray for them. So thank you, John, for mentioning that.
Situation works itself out as soon as possible. Today would be the best that we could hope for at this point, and you never know where a deal might be worked out. And unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where Ukraine now will not be able to join NATO, as it seems. So let's see if that's the bargaining chip that Vladimir Putin needs to make a move. He has said one of the major things that would get him to make a move towards the direction of peace and stopping his operation is for the Ukraine to say we will not be part of NATO. That does not look like from any angle that's a possibility right now.
Well, you know what? I have to say President Zelensky has done an incredible job being a leader in such a trying time. I mean, he's so impressive, very, very impressive. And I know from speaking to some of our constituents here of Eastern European heritage that they are very proud to have him as the president of the Ukraine. And they're very, very proud of his very strong approach against a dictator and a tyrant like Vladimir Putin. He has shown no fear and only courage, and it's very inspirational.
And from a personal end, I have a few good Ukrainian friends. I've worked with them on getting their families out of Ukraine. Most are out. Some are still there. Unfortunately, at this point, may be tough to get out. But I will say that so many people laughed when Zelensky was elected 3 years ago. They said, he's a comedian. Ha, ha, ha. Nobody's laughing now.
That's very true. That's very, very, very true. Very true. Well, thanks, John, for bringing that up. I think it's important for everyone to know, especially Americans. We know better than anybody what it's like to fight for freedom and independence.
And have a discussion like we have, which in some countries around the world, in a place like Russia, for example, you cannot. If you're a journalist there, you just spout the party line. Otherwise, they drag you off TV while you hold up a sign that says no war, and then let's have peace in Russian. There you go.
There you go. Yep. Thanks for bringing it up, John. I appreciate it. I know the people do too, as well.
Here we are, real nice day right after St. Patrick's Day. Warm weather months are just ahead. Easter just a few weeks down the road. I know Putnam County does a lot outdoors during the warm weather months. For example, coming up on Saturday, March 26th, you have an event for pet owners and pet lovers, a free rabies clinic at Veterans Memorial Park in Kent. So I guess we can start to get the word out about that.
Yeah, Health Department sent out a press release on that, which I think is just terrific. When you look at the numbers in the last year or two about the rabies, this is a serious situation. We're happy to be able to offer the rabies clinic. I'm sure we're going to see some bikes on the bike paths real soon. I think we'll see that sooner rather than later. We've got a great concert series lineup, both at Tilly Foster Farm and down at the golf course. And I believe on Tuesday, the 22nd, the Putnam County Golf Course will open for the seaon.
That's great. Are you going to get out there on the links too? Are you going to do the inaugural, I guess, drive off the first tee?
No, not this year. But I think we have done a tremendous job with that golf course. We really turned that whole facility around. People love it. They love the affordability. They love the location. We have a great superintendent down there. We have a great golf pro. Our terrific general manager, Katie Hanrahan's down there running the banquet facility with homestyle caterers. It's all coming together, But if you come up, I'll play with you. If you come up.
You wouldn't want to play with me. I'm like the guy. Remember that MasterCard commercial where the guy would get frustrated and throw the clubs into the lake about 20 years ago? That's the way I play golf. That's why people have refused to play with me through the years. So I'm not a good.
Well, come up for a concert.
Concert, that's a little different. I think you can keep me calm during that. So. All right, MaryEllen Odell, County Executive here in Putnam Talk Radio here in Putnam County. I'm John Marino, MaryEllen Odell. All the best to you. Thanks, and let's talk again not too far down the road.
Sure, John. Always great. I wish everyone a happy and blessed Passover and a happy Easter to everyone and a beautiful spring. We all deserve it, that's for sure.
And a fantastic summer.
And an even better summer.
No doubt about that. MaryEllen Odell will talk next time here on Putnam Talk Radio. Here we are, produced by Sharc Creative, made possible by Robeson Oil, the house that service built by Tompkins Mahopac Bank, by Lipolis Electric, don't be left in the dark, get Lipolis, by Hightower Westchester, managing your wealth through fiduciary standard up and down the Hudson Valley, by White Plains Hospital, they are there for you throughout the Hudson Valley, and by Michael Labriola Landscape Design and Construction of Armont. Catch all of our Putnam, Dutchess, Orange, Rockland, Westchester, and Fairfield County Talk Radio programming on our YouTube channel, Sharc Creative YouTube.